Bars.
Live from the Windy C Radio studio in the shops at Iverson. This is the Balancing Act Radio Show, hosted by AJ Throwback, only on WindyCRadio.com, the Windy C Radio app, Facebook Live and YouTube Live on the Windy C Radio pages, and of course, it's all powered by GoWin.media. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, kings and queens. Welcome to the official Hump Day Motivation for the DMV and beyond. This is, of course, the one and only Bars. I am your host, as I am every single Wednesday right here, Windy C Radio, GoWin Media, broadcasting live and proudly from the shops at Iverson. I am AJ Throwback. Appreciate y'all being here on another beautiful but crisp Wednesday morning. Fall is definitely here today. Monday was a little warmer. Got spoiled by a little bit more of that warm weather, but fall said, hold on, it's my time. Reclaiming my time. You know what I mean? So but it's still nice outside. Still nice outside. But anyway, again, great to be here with y'all. I gotta start off the show. Y'all might notice the t-shirt. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Rel from That's a Plug. A great platform, just a motivational platform for people that's just on the grind, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're an artist, no matter what field you're in, he has a great platform. And I met that brother at a event that I DJ'd, the Music and Melody Showcase back in March. Shout out to the Wong host of A Seat at the Table podcast. I met that brother and, you know, he just wanted to, he saw me do my thing. Like, he came up to me, talked to me for a little bit. You know, we rapped and everything. Just had a nice little vibe. So, you know, we ended up meeting again at the Change Agent Fellowship. And he just said, hey, you want to do the interview now? I was like, all right, cool. So we sat down, and actually the interview is on YouTube. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure you check it out. It's a good, solid interview. He's got a bunch of good interviews on his YouTube page, so make sure y'all follow That's a Plug. Subscribe to their YouTube channel. Follow them on IG. That's a Plug _media. I believe that's the IG account. On Twitter is That's a Plug Media, and on Facebook is That's a Plug. So make sure y'all, you know, support them. Check out a lot of their videos. And once again, and I won this t-shirt in a giveaway, gotta say that, you know what I'm saying, just for being supported. I wasn't even expecting it, you know, y'all know how I do, I just support everybody. But anyway, definitely want to let y'all know we got a nice, good, solid show for y'all today. Gonna be talking about last night's BET Hip Hop Awards for those who actually watched. Got a top 5 dope on arrival for y'all, continuing with the hip hop theme. Talk about that a little bit later. And of course, at noon, as you've seen in the promos, we have author, poet, blogger, and speaker Kendra Fowler, aka Mizz K, coming in, and we'll be talking specifically about her amazing book called Pain, Promiscuity, Purpose, From Mess to Ministry. It is an amazing book, and I cannot wait to break this book down with her and sit down and talk with this sister. She has a great story that I can't wait for y'all to hear. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get into the music. This is Brian Lyrics featuring Exoskeleton with Envy. And you are listening to the official Hump Day Motivation for the DMV and beyond. This is Bars.
You'd rather have the end. You're doing good, dawg. Look at your roof. You in the car, you put it in the trunk. Look at your crew. So many chicks fly, but they only sit still for you. You got the perfect picture of life, and I can give you the proof. Look at this dude. You're claiming that the game's so critical, but the only critic is you. You got bread, big and small, they gon' give you the loot. You're breaking glass, taking everything you see, but oops. the way you live in this world. You got buckets full of water, but your lust in is well. You got Aquafina, but you only want his to sign it. And everything you has is better than yours, probably. You're 18 carats, his is 24, watch me. You're shining harder, but his is worth more profit. You getting what you need what he got. You don't want it cause you want it, you want it because you got it. In the car scene, you got a C-class, he's driving the Austin Martin. You got them green eyes, if you get it, then you want it. The way you switch whips, you think you're valet parking. The way he switch whips, I think your back has some marking. Cause you're a slave to what he's getting, and that's the problem. I think it's awesome, you wanna be top notch, but if he says it's work out, you probably cop spots. Opportunities there, you hear the knock knock. Keys open doors, and the coke is a lockbox. But he's different, he does it for class, because he graduated at the top of his class. Your school of hard knocks, you'll probably get bad, cause you think it's fabulous when you put it in the bag. Dad, your life is so sad, you ain't a real man, you a queen getting dragged.
They hawking out, I scream with envy. My life is filled with luxury. While you out to get me, try to cut from my cloth. Oh, you talented, Mr. Ripley, you're extraordinary. Do chill, I'm just simply a kid for being more. Decide to do it, but you can do this thing too. Don't be so foolish. They want to praise you like Jesus, but try to ice you like Judas. Can't be like me, you make your heart me. I'm a bit ruthless. Be quiet, listen how they conspire. Keep your eyes on your team when you build an empire. The enemy red matches, his is to admire. You red shot cause you the one to kill you, Messiah. The senior cruise control, the one to get in your lane. They wanna take over, so they pray for the hang. Saints come in every form, that's a part of the game. Be rare, your adversary on your rise to fame.
You'd rather have the end.
If you're an urban contemporary indie artist, then this is your platform. Send us clean versions of your music to balancingactradioshow@gmail.com. That's balancingactradioshow@gmail.com.
If he put his lips on me, baby, are you dangerous? Cause I'm dangerous. Want better things for us. Caution when you touch me. Come and leave, misjudge me. Do you mind? Baby, are you dangerous? Cause I'm dangerous. Baby, are you dangerous? Cause I'm dangerous. Want better things for us. Caution when you touch me. Come and leave, misjudge me. Do you mind? Baby, are you dangerous? Cause I'm dangerous. I wanna be your awakening. You never wanna be away from me. Ay. I can get you right, upgrade you nice, leave me hanging like a tapestry, and I'll be your memory. Baby, are you dangerous? Cause I'm dangerous. Want better things for us. Caution when you touch me. Come and leave, misjudge me. Do you mind? Baby, are you dangerous? Cause I'm dangerous. Baby, are you dangerous? Cause I'm dangerous. Want better things for us. Caution when you touch me. Come and leave, misjudge me. Do you mind? Baby, are you dangerous? Cause I'm dangerous.
He's craving my body, craving my conversation. He's craving my soul, my mind feeds his temptation. That passive aggression, it only fuels the flame. You think I'm playing hard to get, but this ain't a game. I'm freaking your mind, my third eye penetrating, clothes disintegrating. How did I get you whole? Now I've been known to tame the beast, don't mean to be too bold. Dangerous like the deep end, dare you to dip your feet in. Snatching souls like Ghostbusters, you jeepers creeping. My love squeeze when she bite, don't say you ain't been warm. Caution when you touch the stove is hot.
I have to watch out for you because your butt is soft, but your mind is sharp. I watching you.
Whether you call yourself a beat maker or a producer, let's get those fire instrumentals some more burn. You could be featured during our segments as the next Bars Producer of the Week. Email at least 5 of your best beats to balancingactradioshow@gmail.com. That's balancingactradioshow@gmail.com.
You are now rocking with ADS.
This that up north cross with that southern sound sauce. Hold up, wait, pause. In the streets of the pleasant, never panic, automatic. Look at me, take you back to the streets in the sea. Couple P's had to eat in the V. Hickula, I get the curtain like Mr. Carr. 14 on the block, it was critical. Pop's gone, mama drug and now I'm ducking. 1,000 in my 98 bucket. 4, not a Honda Accord, of course there was more. In my top drawer, shoebox full of money in case I made me a score. From them demos, the Renos, no taking shorts, even 10 folks. Banger on me in the city with these credentials. Where they hate just as fast as the tempo. The White House, Capitol, monumental. Look me dead in my eyes. These last days we living in, you seeing kids die. And they ain't telling no lies. Out here struggling just to survive. Look me dead in my eyes. These last days we living in, you seeing bullets fly. And visions of a better life. Visions of a better life. I'm not a rapper, it's a rapture, I just made it happen. Pack them bags, hit the road, city of the rappers. From the streets to the beach, you can call me Dre. Between the pills and the pack, my folks kept it yet. Envision better days, something like Pop. Say they going off the op, say I'm trying to lead a block safe. Hit Virginia, Carolinas to the beach state. Got girls going wild, now this on spring break. 95 to 85, in the state. Got a couple down south shorties, I'ma penetrate. We talking meals, then I'm scraping off the dinner plate. One a little shot, but the other take it in the. Look me dead in my eyes. These last days we living in, you seeing kids die. And they ain't telling no lies. Out here struggling just to survive. Look me dead in my eyes. These last days we living in, you seeing bullets fly. And visions of a better life. Visions of a better life.
Welcome back to the Balancing Act Radio Show, hosted by AJ Throwback, only on WinDCRadio.com and the WinDC Radio app, powered by GoWin.media.
Yeah, that was the homie ADST Music featuring G4 for the ladies with Envisions of a Better Life. And shout out to ADST Music. He's tuning in on the live right now, commenting. You know I had to look out for you, brother, so you already know how we do. Before that, we had Autumn LaBella featuring Adina Kari with Kisses on the Neck. And starting off the set, we had Brian Lyrics featuring Exoskeleton with Envy. All right, let's get into it.
From the box office to the boom box to the idiot box.
Hold on, bruh. That makes us idiots.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Anyway, it's what's hot in everything entertainment. This is the High Top Fade, only on Bars.
Yeah, so those of y'all who were actually tuned in last night, well, actually, you know what? Let me get some shout outs first. Before we get to that, let's get some shout outs first. Everybody that's watching on Facebook Live, you know what I'm saying? Got to shout out everybody. The Mrs., of course, one of the first people there. Neen, got to shout out my sis Neen from Let's Be Clear, which will be on next Tuesday, right here on WinDCRadio.com. Shout out to Nina and Becky. Shout out to the fellas of Mike's Corner. You know what I'm saying? Mike, Will, Sko, Mr. Sean. You know, they put on a great show every week. Every week. Whether it's Let's Be Clear, whether it's Mike's Corner. They put on a great show every week. So definitely, y'all make sure to tune in to them every Tuesday, 6 to 8 p.m. right here at WinDCRadio.com. Shout out my cousin Carlin watching. My homie Tori, you know what I'm saying? Appreciate you, bro. Donnell Johnson, appreciate you tuning in, brother. My my big sis. Can't forget my big sis Candace, you know what I'm saying? Watching, you know what I'm saying, Springfield, Illinois representing. We got people all over tuning in. So we definitely appreciate all the love. Miss Razzle Dazzle, you know what I'm saying, one of the hardest working women in show business. I'm trying to tell you. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to her. You know I got you, Nene. You know how we do. You know what I'm saying? We family. Make sure I get everybody in here before I get into this whole thing. Yeah, I think I covered everybody. If not, you know what I'm saying, I got you on the next go round. But yeah, so let's get into this talk about the BET Awards. So, first and foremost, it was hosted by D-Ray. I wasn't necessarily wowed by D-Ray being a host. I've seen worse hosts, but I've seen better hosts. But you know, he did a decent job. I'm not going to totally poo-poo on what he did last night. But I felt like, I don't know, maybe it was the energy and how the show started off, because they had Lil Pump and Gucci Mane. They started off the show, and I'll kind of get into it a little bit more toward the end of the segment, but I felt like the energy, they kind of dictated the energy of the show. But without getting into too many negatives, let's get to some positive. So the first thing, I did like Cardi B's performance. I like the fact more so that she performed Get Up 10. She opened up her performance with Get Up 10. That's one of my favorite songs in Invasion of Privacy. I don't know what the second song is called that she did, but man, it was a little on the racy side. It was, you know, she was like twerking and rapping at the same time, like, but twerking on the ground, like, didn't miss a beat. It's like she could focus on both at the same time. I was like, oh, all right, Cardi, I see you, you know. But it was for the most part, it was a good performance. I think the only things that kind of threw me off was, one, it wasn't actually at the awards. I think it was like in a different location, kind of like what Beyonce did one year when she performed one of her songs from 4. She performed it, like, I think at Wembley Stadium, but it was like still the BET Awards, I think. But anyway, and then I don't know, for whatever reason, some people say certain curse words like really hard, and it's like you just feel like your soul is offended. And for whatever reason, when Cardi B says the B word, it's just like, oh my gosh, like, who are you talking to? Why are you so mad at them? You know, it's like, it's crazy, you know. But anyway, also Lil Duval, he probably had one of the most fun, engaging performances of the night. Of course, he performed his song Smile with Ball Greasy, but the only thing was Snoop wasn't there. I felt like if Snoop was there, it would have taken the performance to another level, but he still brought a level of fun that a lot of the performances really didn't bring. I like T.I.'s performance. He did Wraith with Yo Gotti. He did pretty decent. He probably had one of the most professional performances of the night, so to say. And but he also did Hefe, which is one of my favorite songs on Dime Trap. Y'all haven't heard Dime Trap? Treat yourself to it ASAP. ASAP. It's one of his best albums since Paper Trail. But I wish he would have done Hefe, because I feel like if he did Hefe, it would have really livened the crowd even more, because Hefe is with Meek Mill, and y'all already know how Meek Mill gets down. Like, Meek Mill, I mean, granted, a lot of people feel like he scream on records, but he still brings a certain energy that I felt like that crowd needed. And I don't know, they both went off on that song, so I just felt like that would have really been a better moment than performing Wraith. Flip De Niro, I didn't really know much about this dude until last night. Like, I heard about him, I heard the song Leave Me Alone, but he had the most energetic performance of the night out of everybody. And like I said, like I just mentioned T.I., and T.I. gives good live shows if people don't know that. But he gives good live shows. And Flip De Niro probably had the most energetic performance of the night. Like, people were really engaging with him. Probably between him and Lil Duval, they were the most engaging performances of the night. But the moment, probably the biggest highlight, was Lil Wayne winning the I Am Hip Hop Award. I mean, people can say whatever they want about Wayne, but Wayne has been in the game. Y'all gotta realize he's been in the game 2 decades. 2 decades. And he's gone through so much. He's seen so many changes, and he's one of the most influential people in the game. So I was glad that he actually got the award. I feel like he deserves the award. But the biggest highlight of his speech was when he was talking about a guy in New Orleans he knew named Uncle, I guess they call him Uncle Bob. And the guy essentially saved Lil Wayne's life, I think, when he was a kid, because I think he was laying in a house or whatever, laying in an apartment somewhere and darn near death. And the guy just refused to believe that he was gonna die, so he rushed him to the hospital. When he got to the hospital, he demanded, like, he didn't want to wait. So he demanded treatment right away. He stayed at the hospital with Lil Wayne to make sure he was okay. And as he's gotten older, he sees him all around. Like, he'll see him at restaurants. Like, the guy, Uncle Bob, won't let him pay for his meals, won't let him tip waitresses, any of that. Like, Lil Wayne's always trying to do something for him. And he, even one time recently, I think maybe a couple of days ago or a couple of weeks ago, it was really recent. And he was like, I refuse to stop. Like, I don't need your money, but I will take a job. Like, that's the only thing he asked Lil Wayne for. And at the end of his speech, basically all he said was to everybody, to his fans, to Uncle Bob, to his family, to everybody, like, I refuse to stop. And I love moments like that because it shows growth, it shows some maturity. I mean, Wayne is just a wild dude anyway, but you appreciate those moments being, him being 36-year-old Wayne versus when he was in his 20s. Wilding out, sipping lean, all that. I mean, I'm sure he still does certain things, but even still, it's like you love to see the growth in your artist. Before I get to the freestyles, a little bit of controversy. So probably one of the biggest controversies in the categories was Album of the Year. So you had Cardi B, Invasion of Privacy, J. Cole, KOD, Drake, Scorpion, Migos, Culture 2, and the Carter's Everything Is Love. Carter's won with Everything Is Love. And I saw a lot of people on Twitter, online, who were just displeased with them winning. I think one dude even went so far as to say it was rigged. But at the same time, I'm like, now, while Everything Is Love isn't a stellar album, in my opinion, it is the better album out of those four. The only one to me that comes close to it is Cardi B. J. Cole, I feel like his album is overrated. I like J. Cole, but I feel like KOD was kind of boring, if I'm being honest. Scorpion, the first side A, if Drake would have stuck with side A, I would have argued, and put some songs from side B on side A, I would have argued for Drake. Culture 2, Culture 2 wasn't really, like, upon second listen or upon further listens, Culture 2 wasn't really anything really to write home about. It wasn't culture, But I felt like it should have won. But people have their opinions. And then the other controversy, which leads us right into the freestyles, Vic Mensa. In his freestyle, they actually censored a lot of his freestyle because he had some choice words for the late XXXTentacion, taking shots at him being a domestic abuser, and essentially saying, why would I respect somebody more that I didn't respect in life? Why would I respect them in death? And that's really, some people would say that's harsh, some people say that's disrespectful, and to a large degree, I would agree. But at the same time, if you feel strongly about somebody, because let's not make it seem like XXXTentacion was a saint or an angel in his life. He was accused of some terrible things. And, I don't necessarily blame Vic Mensa. I guess I personally wouldn't have gone about it that way. Like, the man's not here to defend himself. He's dead. So, part of me feels like I understand where he's coming from, but a part of me also feels like it's too soon and it's in poor taste. But, some people may agree to disagree. But let's get to these freestyles. So, I love the fact that they used the Banned from TV beat. Anybody that don't know about Banned from TV, go to Noriega's debut album. Noriega, Big Pun, I think Jadakiss may have been on the song. I forget all the people that was on the song. Big Pun was the star of that song. Well, he was one of the stars of that song. That song, man, that beat. That's one of Swiss Beats' best beats. But anyway, so I would say if I had a favorite 5 of the freestyles, Sharaya J from Jersey City, Nick Grant from South Carolina, Sean Smith from Philly, Flawless Real Talk from Providence. He brought the most energy out of everybody that was in the freestyles. And not that just I'm a bark at the mic kind of energy, but just like he just brought it. Like he felt like a rapper's rapper or a lyricist. But the guy who took the cake for me, and I went back and forth between him and Flawless Real Talk, was Reason out of Carson, California, down with TDE. Really, it was 4 lines that got me. 4 lines. This Bama said, you want a spot, you gotta show something. One time I'm on top, balling and shining like Joe Budden. Wait, flip that. I left school, started hustling. So when I left academics, I stopped struggling. Slim. First and foremost, he had a couple of shots for academics. I don't know whether academics pissed in his Kool-Aid at some point, but he had a couple of shots for academics. But that last line in that 4-bar stretch, bruh, sis, man, vicious. I think if I had any drawbacks about the BET Awards, I feel like a lot of the artists don't have enough stage presence. They just like real bland. You know, they don't give you a lot of energy. They too cool for TV. And frankly, it's the same thing with the crowd. And that's why I don't really like watching award shows, because I feel like a lot of award shows or industry shows, they too cool for TV, especially us, for whatever reason. Black folk, we have a problem taking off our cool sometimes. Now, granted, if you're not really getting nothing out of the stage performances, then it's like, you know, we ain't gonna give you but so much. But even a performance like, say, T.I., I felt like the crowd was like dead, you know, or just not responsive enough. But, and then another thing, like a lot of the rappers, and I see local rappers do this, but these are local rappers. But if you at the next level, you should not be rapping over yourself in your verses. You should have a TV track. Lil Pump did it. Yella Beezy did it. Ball Greasy did it. Gucci Mane is a vet. He even did it. And it's like, come on now. Y'all make all this money. You got engineers, or you got the best engineers. Why don't you actually pay them? Or make them work a little bit more and get them TV tracks. They make a difference in your performance. But these are the professionals. They get paid the money. So whatever. But I guess overall, I would probably say it was kind of a mediocre BET Awards. People who say they missed it last night, you didn't really miss a lot. For real. You didn't miss a lot. I mean, like I said, like I laid out the highlights. I do have to say, I meant to say this about the ciphers. Probably the best cipher was the all women cipher. And the bonus was that Erykah Badu not only DJ'd, but she kind of cut up the Band from TV beat in a creative way, and she freestyled. Now granted, Erykah Badu didn't have the best freestyle out of all the women, but the fact that she freestyled, you could tell it really sounded like a legit freestyle, you know. I just thought it was dope. So, but I don't know. I don't want to give it like a number rating, but I felt like the energy could have been better, because I felt like the BET Awards were better. And sometimes like the hip hop awards are better than the BET Awards, but not this year. So if y'all happen to catch it, if it, catch the replay or whatever, if you DVR'd it, check it out, see for yourself, have your own opinion. That's just my opinion. I'm no expert. But anyway, we're gonna come back with who we coming back with? We coming back with T5 DOA top 5. Today is Dope on Arrival. See, I'm doing a thing where it's like T5 DOA is either the D is either dope or dud. So today is dope, and y'all gonna see what it is in a hot second. For the time being, we are going to get into the next track. This is Amani Philly with Forever. and you're listening to the official Hump Day motivation for the DMV and beyond. This is Bars.
Soon as I convince myself that I can do it all alone. Where you go, there you go, here you go, now we go. You're the only one that could ever handle me. They say that I'm a lot of me. You say that I'm unique. You say that I'm just right. I'm hoping it be like this all the time. I said I'm hoping it be like this all the time. Found my pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I found you. Found my pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I found you. Damn, I had my Gina all the time. You got me hoping that it be like this forever. Forever, forever. Damn, I had my Gina all alone. Kicked out enough Bams, curved game strong. But I couldn't lift you up my heart, cause you make me weak sometimes. I run away, don't want my heart to be breached. Full circle like a full moon. This wolf house for you. Full circle like a full moon. This wolf house for you. Forever. Found my pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I found you. Found my pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I found you. Damn, I had my Gina all the time. You got me hoping that it be like this forever. Forever, forever. I'm hoping it be like this all the time. I said I'm hoping it be like this all the time. Found my pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I found you. Found my pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I found you. Damn, I had my Gina all the time. You got me hoping that it be like this forever. Forever, forever.
You hear this spot right here? This could be your spot where you pull your new customer. If you're a nascent or established business or entrepreneur and you believe you have the right product for our audience, then advertise with Bars. For more details on our rates, packages, and deals for first-time clients, email balancingactradioshow@gmail.com. That's balancingactradioshow@gmail.com.
Rick, Imperious from the
I want my chain all gold. I want my bitch all gold.
I want my wrist all gold. To pull up, they looking to stun on you, stun on you, stun on you. I want my chain all gold. I want my bitch all gold. I want my wrist all gold. To pull up, they looking to stun on you, stun on you, stun on you, ho. All gold, all gold. 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 King Tut, want my wrist on froze. I play with money while I'm fat as fat. I want my diamond dancing. Talking cabbage patches, then I beef it up. Millie rocket, then I get up. She all gold with a Gucci clutch. The trunk, I keep the pistol tucked. Bad ass keep running up. She say that she know me. Back in the day, I used to with a homie, and now that I'm glowing, she said I'm overwhelming, but I'm easy going. Dress regular, but the money showing. Good girl, she church going. To the circle, I'm talking L rowing. Ludacris with a check, I'm elbowing. That money coming in, talking overflowing. Yeah, rattlesnakes in the grass, I got that lawnmower. I want my chain all gold. I want my bitch all gold. I want my wrist all gold. To pull up, they looking to stun on you, stun on you, stun on you. I want my chain all gold. I want my bitch all gold. I want my wrist all gold. To pull up, they looking to stun on you, stun on you, stun on you, ho. All gold, all gold. 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 All gold, all gold.
I want it all gold, I want it with diamonds.
They gotta be froze.
I wear long sleeves of jeans year round, come a jury so cold. I've had hard times, days with no money, I'll never relive it. Get it wrong, people trust in the past. I'll never re-give it like f***ing late, get to the paper. When I didn't have it, they vanished like vapor. But now I got goals and they like 40 acres. My mama new home, grandma out the trailer, I gotta get it. No more sitting, I had no money, a horrible feeling. Now everything gold, everything on, never go broke. Money so long, I'm stunting on. They used to say no, I guess that they know now that everything gold now. Got gold on her toes, huh? My bit like a rose now, and I'm on the road now. You so old now, do Trey.
I want my chain all gold. I want my bitch all gold. I want my wrist all gold. To pull up, they looking to stun on you, stun on you, stun on you. I want my chain all gold. I want my bitch all gold. I want my wrist all gold. To pull up, they looking to stun on you, stun on you, stun on you, ho. All gold, all gold. 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 All gold, all gold.
Want to get down with the Bars Revolution? We're on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Bars On Air.
Check, What you remind me of is something like the 90s love, what? Like the 90s was. What you remind me of is something like the 90s love, what? Like the 90s was. What you remind me of is something like the 90s love, what? Like the 90s was. What you remind me of is something like the 90s love, what? Like the 90s was.
I get so weak whenever I'm around you. I'm so happy that I found you, so addicted, boy, you got me fiending. My little chocolate bar, and you know I got a sweet tooth. Looks so good, I wanna eat you. So just shower me with your candy rain. 'Cause all I do is think of you. I just wanna spread my wings and fly away. So before I let you go away, can I get a kiss goodnight? Can I get a kiss goodnight?
What you remind me of is something like the 90s love, what? Like the 90s was. What you remind me of is something like the 90s love, what? Like the 90s was. What you remind me of is something like the 90s love, what? Like the 90s was. What you remind me of is something like the 90s love, what? Like the 90s was.
So when you walk by every night, talking sweet and looking fine, I can't help getting caught up in your pretty brown lies. So can we wanna be down with you. I don't see nothing wrong, and you remind me of a song. So let's take a stroll down memory lane and reminisce on the old days. So tell me that you feel the same way. Hey lover, this is more
What you
than
remind
a
me
crush.
of? It's something like the 90s love. What? Like the 90s was. What you remind me of? It's something like the 90s love. What? Like the 90s was. What you remind me of? It's something like the 90s love. What? Like the 90s was. What you remind me of? It's something like the 90s love. What? Like the 90s was. Yeah.
It's time to get back to AJ Throwback and Bars, only on WinDCRadio.com and the WinDC Radio app, powered by GoWin.media.
Yeah, that was Darius Woolley with, Darius Woolley and Sherelle Rowe, their joint album, Days Till Summer. That is 90s Love. If you haven't checked out Days Till Summer, it's a good album, y'all. Definitely check it out. Before that, we had Sideshow Marley featuring Youngin with All Gold. Shout out once again to Miss Razzle Dazzle, hardest working woman. Tell you, she be plugging for that dude, man, you know. And starting off the set, we had Amani Philly with Forever. All right. Before I continue, appreciate that, name. Much appreciate it. Much appreciate. I try to do what I can do when I can do it. Got to shout out, I seen my man Calvin Williams check in. Appreciate you, bro. My homegirl Tiffany, appreciate you tuning in as well. All right, let's go ahead and get into it.
Sometimes they're dope and sometimes they're duds. But no matter what, there's always five and it's always an off. Fake me out, expert opinion only. It's, hold on, mind if we use your acronym? We'll take that as a yes. It's T5DOA, only on Bars.
All right, so you gotta love when people throw you curveballs. So this segment was supposed to be something totally different, and it ended up being because I pay attention to what people do on social media and everything, and so my homie Kingpin Slim, dope artist. He put up a thing pretty much saying like his favorite 5 rap verses of all time. And then he posed a question to, people who actually saw the post. And so I had this totally different segment about sleep that I probably will do maybe at a later time. But he said that, or he posted that post, and I was just like, bruh, you just threw a Molotov cocktail on my plans, bruh. Like totally just blew it up, and I'm like, man, now I got to, because I'm talking about the hip hop awards, I got to talk bars, for real bars. So here we are. These are my favorite rap verses of all time. And y'all can feel free, if you can actually think of it that quickly, and throughout the show, maybe we'll read a few while the segment is going, maybe read a few at the end. But this was difficult. At first, I only had one. But then I really sat and thought about it, and verses started coming to my head like, yeah, that verse, and yeah, that verse. And I actually felt bad that certain verses I didn't essentially include. But let me name a few of the honorable mentions. So, Smoke of Field Mob. And I know some people might be like, Field Mob? Like, yeah, Field Mob. Let me tell you something about these dudes. From the Rooter to the Tutor is one of my favorite albums of all time. Not just hip-hop albums. That album got me through 2002, 2003, 2004. That album is like so underrated, it's criminal. But on the song Hit It For Free, man, I ain't even gonna like give y'all any bars. Y'all got to just listen to the song. His verse, which is the last verse on the song, he just gets into a pocket mid-verse that's just like ridiculous. And then you know a verse is fire when they drop like sound effects in the middle of the verse. You know what I'm saying? Like an explosion in the background. Like, man, he just going in like throw a sound effect right here. You know what I mean? So Yes, gotta shout out Smoker Field Mob. Another honorable mention, and I'm kind of mad it wasn't in my top 5, but when you hear my top 5, you may understand. Sci-Hi the Prince on So Appalled, which was on Kanye's My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, my favorite Kanye album, and one of my favorite songs on that album. I mean, Sci-Hi was the star. I mean, you on a song with Kanye, Pusha T, Jay-Z, and you're a relative newcomer, and you upstage everybody. I mean, this dude had lines like, I met this girl on Valentine's Day after in May. She found out about April, so she chose the March. Hi, damn, another heartbroken heart. I keep bees by the twos, the Noah's Ark. I'm like, wow. And I mean, the lines just kept coming, like witty line after witty line. I mean, he just hit you in the head with them. But let's get to the 5. All right, so you might be surprised at this one. So number 5, I gotta say Nicki Minaj on Monster. And for me, it's more about the fact that, again, another relative newcomer to the game at that point. This is 2010. Now, granted, I think Nicki had been, you know, her name had been thrown out there for a year or two by that point. And you on the same track with Kanye and Jay-Z. And you have not only the best verse on the song, but most people would say that is the best verse of her career. And it's not even necessarily about the witty lines or bars or anything like that. It's so much about the delivery. She just owned that moment, like, so much. And it's like, since then I've been like, Nicki, where that Nicki at? You know what I mean? But that was definitely the bar being set on that track. I feel like the music is a little loud. Anyway, number 4, Reservoir Dogs, off of Jay-Z's Volume 2, Hard Knock Life album. It's not Jay-Z though. Sauce Money. Sauce Money probably delivered not only one of his best verses, but probably one of the most flawless rap verses I've ever heard. Because, I mean, it just seemed like every line was a punchline. Every line was a punchline, it felt like. Like, he was just hitting you in the head with them joints. One point he was, I mean, like, he'd give you a slick line like, picture me falling off, I'm camera shy. Or he give you like cold bars like, something to prove, spit it, we can have a spray off. I lay off wax and kill him on my day off. Ain't nothing for me to bust a tray off. Murder the whole month of April just to take May off. Run with more Germans than Adolf. You like cruise. Now I concentrate on your camp like Jews. Like, bruh, come on. And like, he just kept it going after that. Kept it going. Like, it's such an underrated verse that doesn't get talked about enough. Number 3, Scarface on This Can't Be Life off of Jay-Z's Rock La Familia album. And what's crazy is that Jay-Z had a dope verse. Beans had a dope verse. But Face, when he came in there, he just owned it. He just owned it because it was like the way he told the story. Like, talking about, he about to lay this song down and he gets a call from his homeboy Reese, just lost one of his kids. And when I heard it, I just broke into tears. Like, his delivery on that beat anyway, which is one of my favorite Kanye beats. Like, he just owned that beat, man. Like, he owned that moment. And, you know, like, he even said it toward the end. Like, he talked about how he felt, or how he would have felt if it happened to him. Because his son at the time, I think Brad is his son's name, he was 2 at the time. So he's like trying to picture himself in this man's shoes who just lost his son. You know, and it's also the mystique behind the verse. Like, what would the verse have sounded like if that didn't happen? But in a weird way, it's almost like you're thankful that you're sad that somebody lost their child, but it produced a great verse. So he turned a loss into a win. You know what I mean? Number 2, Biggie. Bleed. The 3rd verse. I mean, Biggie's just an incredible storyteller. Anyway, a lot of people, they'll praise I Got a Story to Tell, or even on Ready to Die, not Ready to Die, Life After Death, Somebody's Gotta Die. But most people lean toward I Got a Story to Tell. But Niggas Bleed is one of my favorite Biggie storytelling songs. Because like that verse at the end, he's just so vivid and descriptive. You feel like you right there with him. You feel like you right there, like every shot, every, the sprinklers going off, the alarm system's going off. And then how he ended it, talking about the dudes that was like scoping in the Range Rover, how they trying to come up and chase after them, but they range get towed. They was parked by a hydrant. You know what I'm saying? It's like the whole delivery of that verse, it was just like masterful and vintage Biggie. But my number one choice, yeah, he did have a dope verse on Victory. Let me tell you, he owned Victory. He owned Victory. And somebody else mentioned that on the original post, talking about Victory. Like Victory, that's like a legendary verse for Biggie. Like for real, for real. But my number one would be Nas, Rewind. Nas Rewind is, frankly, if not my favorite, it's one of my favorite hip-hop songs ever made. Now granted, it's technically a verse because he doesn't break stride. So it's like a long behind verse, but it's a verse. But I mean, come on, like the dude tells a story backwards, but it's so genius that at points you feel like he's telling it real time. I have never heard a song like that, and I haven't heard one since. There have been a lot of great storytelling songs, but it's the way that he did it. Like, again, you felt like you were right there seeing everything happen. Especially when he was talking about like the girl he had over, his apartment or whatever. It was just like, that was the part to me that sounded like he was almost telling it forward. That was the crazy thing about it. It's really graphic, but really genius, really genius. So, let me see if I can get a few of these. All right, I see you, Nate. You got Renegade. I feel you on that. Nas 1, Mike the third verse. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. You said the Biggie joint. Oh yeah. What's that beat? Is that Jay-Z? I think that's Jay-Z right there. Yeah. That's a fire Jay-Z verse right there, babe. That's a good one. But yeah, if y'all have any more, definitely feel free to share. We're gonna go ahead and get back into the music. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Bear with me for a second. And yeah, let's get it cracking with this.
If somebody tell you he hot, man, everybody hot now, man, he fish grease.
That's how we feel about this track right here. This is the Fish Grease Pick of the Week, only on Bars, on WinDCRadio.com and the WinDC Radio app, powered by GoWin.media.
Here I am, make me look good. Hurricane, we flooded. I'm hitting licks out the Uber, I just hit an old lick, and I call it my cougar. Ice dripping on my neck like it's fresh out the cooler. Hitting licks out the Uber, I'm hitting licks out the Uber. Scoop the chick in the Uber, got some head in the Uber. I'm mixing liquor with hookah. You can get lit when I call up my shooter. Hitting licks out the Uber, Put her in your future. Product polluted, that's why the profit reducing. And I'm rocking like Houston. My biddies be boosted, they Bugatti and Boosie. Squirt on the perk like she loose. I got the lotion, my partner's Resfusion. I am Resfusion, a new revolution. I made her my groupie, this is why I'm hot. You made a babe, you not the wave, she my thought. I'm hitting licks licks out the Uber, hitting licks out the Uber. I just hit an old lick and I call it my cougar. Ice dripping on my neck like it's fresh out the cooler. I'm hitting licks in the Uber, hitting licks in the Uber. You can get lit when I call it my shooters. Hitting licks in the Uber, hitting licks in the Uber. We just come and bust it down in the Uber. I'm hitting licks out the Uber, hitting licks out the Uber. I just hit an old lick and I call it my cougar. Ice dripping on my neck like it's fresh out the cooler. 30 gold chains like I'm Slick Vic the ruler. Drip, drip, clip long as a ruler. I'm about to moolah. Draco singing like a Drake song. Moving weight ain't gotta wait for him. I've been trapping all day long. Cause Simon ain't nothing, you Curtis bluffing on the snow. You copping or leaving, let's give and go. I'm hitting licks out the Uber. And I'm doing ain't the shit that you used to. I'm doing me, facts like a factory. Killing them, Mickey and Mallory. I'm drilling hard, that's why you mad at me. This hustling shit is inside of me. I'm hitting licks out the Uber, hitting licks out the Uber. Selling dog food like it's Uber Canuba. Hitting licks out the Uber, I'm hitting licks out the Uber. The shit that I'm doing ain't the shit that she used to. I'm hitting licks out the Uber, hitting licks out the Uber. Diamonds dripping on my neck like I'm fresh out the cooler. Hitting licks out the Uber, hitting licks out the Uber. I'm hitting licks out the Uber, hitting licks out the Uber.
More topics, more segments, more music means more bars after this.
When DC Radio brings to you the app. Yes, the app is now available on your Google Play and your App Store, on your iPhone or your Android, any of your pads that you might be using, be it if it's an iPad, iPad mini, or if you have a Samsung Note, doesn't matter what you have, any mobile device, you can get the app so you can listen where you're at to Win DC Radio.
The Shops at Iverson is now undergoing a transformation, creating a mixed-use center where the community can come together to eat, shop, relax, and feel connected. The Shops at Iverson is a 600 KSF mixed-use property consisting of retail and office space now available. Located inside the Beltway on Branch Avenue, Maryland, just minutes from downtown D.C. It's an exciting time at the Shops at Iverson. Several beautiful renovation projects are ongoing, transforming the Shops at Iverson into the new safe community hub. DMV, get ready to enjoy the new food court. Opening late spring, early summer, featuring new restaurants like Chipotle, Quickway Hibachi, Tropical Smoothie, Wingstop, and free Wi-Fi. The Shops at Iverson, the original home of the world-famous Snickerdoodle cookies, is completing several cosmetic improvements to the mall interior, facade, and parking garage. The Shops at Iverson is the new home of Go Win Media, comprised of the DMV's premier internet radio stations, Go Radio Live and Win DC Radio. For updates and more details, check out shopiverson.com. That's shopiverson.com.
What's good, everybody? This your boy AJ Throwback, and when I'm plugging away at work and need a shot of energy, I'm tuned into the hot topics, dope music, and wild styles of my brothers and the kings of Monday night, Coach Taylor and Ransom Relic. His Breakout Kings Radio Mondays from 8 to 10 p.m. only on WinDCRadio.com and the WinDC Radio app.
Powered by GoWin.media. We hope you didn't go too far. It's time for the second hour of the Balancing Act radio show, hosted by AJ Throwback, only on WinDCRadio.com and the WinDC Radio app, powered by GoWin.media. Whether they're artists, athletes, entrepreneurs, politicians, activists, or simply folks you need to know, we've got the line to the movers and shakers of DC, Maryland, Virginia, and beyond. This is 15 minutes of game on the Balancing Act radio show.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the second hour of Bars. I'm your man, AJ Throwback, and I'm here with my special guest, Mizz K.
Hey.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm great. Actually, I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
I hear that. I hear that. Yes, yes.
Woke up this morning.
There you go.
Somebody ain't wake up.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm blessed. I woke up.
Yeah.
If for nothing else, I woke up.
There you go. There you go. What's crazy is that, like, I before most shows, I don't get a ton of sleep. But I wake up, I'm groggy, but I'm thankful that, like you said, woke up.
Yeah, yep. If you can't thank them for nothing else, you got a new day,
exactly,
a new chance. So,
exactly. Even if it's only 3 hours of sleep,
right?
I'm gonna take it.
You
I'm gonna take
up?
it 'cause I'm
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that, sister.
Yeah.
So, let's talk a little bit. Let's start off with your beginnings in writing. Okay. So, you said, if I'm not mistaken, you started off writing short stories and poems when you were younger.
Yeah.
And like you would write a lot about like girls living princess-like lives.
Yeah, fairy tale type of lives.
Yeah.
I started when I was about 7.
Okay.
That's the youngest I can remember writing. And I would just like put myself in a whole nother world and just kind of, I would lose myself in it because I like to read.
Yeah.
So I found myself losing myself in books that I was reading. And then I started writing. That's how I became a writer. I loved reading so much. So I would just lose myself. And then especially when I got into my teen years, when things kind of got bad, that's when I would really just kind of put myself in a hole. And I mean, I would be lost. Like as I'm writing, I'm in that world. And then when you stop, it's just like you back to reality.
Yeah.
Reading can be like watching a movie sometimes. If you enjoy reading, it's like you can see the characters, you can see the settings, you can see everything that's going on, and writing can actually be the same way too.
That's true. That's very true. It's very therapeutic. You know, like I'm a writer as well, and I understand that whole thing of like escaping.
Yes.
You know, like just how it's just it just transports you to a different place than where you are currently.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
And it's getting it off you too. All that stuff you got in you, writing. That's why I tell people, like, even if you don't go talk to somebody, at least start with writing because you're getting it off of you. You getting it out of you.
Absolutely. So, but what ended up happening was, I guess your father lost a house. And you ended up losing all of like your early work.
I lost my writing. Like it just still, sometimes I still get emotional when I think about it. I end up finding some stuff, but he, so during my teen years, I ended up going to live with someone else, with another family member, and he was still in the house. So when he lost the house, a lot of things, I don't know what happened. Some of his stuff went to storage, but all my stuff is gone. Yeah. And thank God I was able to find 2 poems that I wrote when I was a teen. And, you know, I found it and I literally cried when I found it. Yeah. So I lost all of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's good you found the 2 that you found. You know, like, I mean, I've been through that too. You know, I know a lot of other people who are creators and, you know, they've lost writings. They've lost whole songs.
It's your baby.
Yeah, exactly.
It's your baby. It's like, it was just so much stuff that I had been writing over the years, and it just was gone.
Yeah.
So I mean, but it also told me not to hold on to too much stuff too, because I'm one of those people. I'm very sentimental, and I hold on to everything. Yeah. So that taught me not to hold on to too much too.
Yeah. Well, that's a great lesson.
Yeah.
To pick up,
yeah.
You know? 'Cause sometimes like the stuff you may have written about, or what may have been connected to your past, it may have been good, but it could be a thing where it's like what you're doing now is even greater. And I think that's a good segue into the fact that you could have given up. In fact, I think you even contemplated stop writing.
Yeah, for a long time I stopped writing, and it actually wasn't the book that I wrote. That actually was birthed from a heartbreak. It wasn't until I went through a really bad heartbreak that I started back writing. Right. Because before then it was just I guess so much going on, you know, being a mother and working, and then, you know, I was running the streets back then and stuff. It just kind of, it just was like suppressed. And so once I went through that heartbreak, I just kind of had no choice but to I was kind of sitting around and just kind of reflecting. Yeah. And then it just came back. So, and it's amazing how sometimes God will use those things, those bad things, to, you know, to bring glory to him, because ultimately that gift that he's given me, and I thank him, I praise him for that gift, but it ultimately helped me to help other people. You know what I mean? But it took a heartbreak for that to happen.
Yeah. And I mean, we've seen that in countless instances. I mean, whether you talk gospel music or whether you talk like even secular music, like you see so many instances where people will go through trials and tribulations, and those trials and tribulations, they use it in order to encourage other people. Yeah. You know, not
Mary
to stay
J.
in those
Blige.
places.
Mary J. Blige, she's a good example. They talk about how she always writes about heartbreak, but people have gotten through heartbreaks listening to her music.
Yes,
and unfortunately it took for her to go through that stuff to write about and sing about, but it helped so many people. prime example.
Yeah, what's funny about you saying that was the first person I thought about.
Really?
That was the first person I thought about.
She's just the queen of like sad love songs.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. But it's like, in a lot of ways, it got a lot of people through.
Yeah,
and I think that's the beauty of your writing from what I've seen, because I was reading, like, I really did not want to put the book down. That's how much I enjoyed it. So let's get into it, because
okay.
I'm revving the people up, so they know what they're gonna encounter when they read it.
Yeah.
So, Pain, Promiscuity, Purpose from Esther Ministry.
Yeah.
That's one of your works,
Mm-hmm.
and like I said, it was just a great,
Thank
just
you.
well written. Very vivid in a lot of points, very candid. I think that's what I appreciated about the book the most. Like, it was very honest, very transparent. Like, you weren't afraid to, like, put yourself out there. And I think those are the types of works that I gravitate the most toward, whether it's in writing, whether it's in music, whether it's in television, film.
Right.
Like, be honest, be upfront, you know. So, one of the things that you talked about was living with your father, and how your father, how he spoke certain things into you that you internalized, and how that affected you. And like, it was one passage that you said in chapter 2 where you said, a part of me felt like I was getting back at my father whenever I had sex. He hadn't the slightest idea I had boys in the house all the time. I experienced this was the part that got me. I experienced a false sense of empowerment, because even though my father controlled every aspect of my life, he couldn't control what I did with my body.
Right.
There were many times I thought to myself, I'm going to show him. What I didn't realize is that it wasn't my father I was hurting myself.
Right.
So, considering your own story and any story you have heard from girls or women through your ministry, why do you believe, like, because I hear that a lot, why do you believe sex is one of the first weapons that girls and women are, quick to pick up when it comes to trying to navigate through their daddy issues?
Yeah, I think because one of the reasons, like I mentioned, is that you can control every part of my life. It just gives you like that false sense of empowerment. You feel like, oh, this is my body, I'm going to do what I want. Yeah, you call me this, I'm ugly, I'm a B word, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't talk to that person, I can't even move, I can't even leave out the house, pretty much. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you can't control what I'm going to go do with my body. And I felt like I was getting back at him, because it was like I knew he didn't want me to do it. And like I said, I felt like I was getting back at him, but at the same time, I'm hurting myself physically, emotionally, spiritually. And I think that a lot of times girls, we are looking for that. All girls, to be honest, we want to go be able to hug daddy, sit on daddy's lap. Yeah. Daddy is supposed to be superhero. Daddy is the one that we run to when the world is, I go to school, got to deal with stuff. I should be able to come home and cry to daddy. This is what's going on. This boy said this, or that girl, life. And I can't do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go look for this boy right here. He just called me cute. He ready to love me. So I'm going to go give him my body. And unfortunately, and I have a daughter myself whose father is not in her life. And this actually, my prayer that she doesn't go that route. You know what I mean? And I'm truly believing that she's not going to go the route. I'm not claiming it. I'm not expecting it. I'm truly claiming that my daughter's going to go in a whole nother route than I did. But unfortunately, a lot of girls, they look for that love from boys. Yeah. And it actually makes you even worse, because you're giving your body, you hurting yourself over and over and over again. Then you thinking it's healing you, but you're really picking at the same wound over and over and over again. And then you don't face it. It just compounds. Yeah. It literally does. But and that's what it is. It's just looking for love. It's looking for that affection, because we all women, we all want to be little girls around our daddy. Even at 33 years old, I still wish that I can go and and we talk now, my dad and I talk, but it's not what I wish that it was. Like, I would love to be able to put my arm around him and hug him and even sit on his lap and just daddy. You know what I mean? I'm sorry.
But I can definitely understand that. And I'm sure it was even more compounded by the fact that it was not long after you lost your mom. Yeah. And then, like, I think you were back and forth with your Aunt Trisha.
Yeah, my Aunt Trisha. Yeah, so you remember?
Yeah,
Aunt Trisha. Yeah.
When I tell you I was into the book, I felt like I was right there in every situation.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure like going through all of that and then like your one living parent, like not showing you enough love. I'm sure it really didn't help in that situation because you probably felt all alone.
I felt alone because when my mother died, I was actually still sleeping on her. Like I was just very attached to her. I was 10, but I was still sleeping on top of her most nights. I was very attached to my mother. So when she died, it was sudden, it was traumatic. And then I go to Aunt Trisha, which I love my Aunt Trisha to death, but my Aunt Trisha wasn't affectionate at all.
Right.
So I went from being hugged and loved all day to it was just like nothing.
Yeah.
And then Daddy, you know, oh, you just like your mother. And that actually took a while. At first, he wasn't like that. So the first couple of years, things were okay. They were good.
Yeah.
And then after a while, it was like, oh, you're going to be just like your mother. I was drunk when I had you, and, you know, you a mistake, and you ugly, you this, you that. You know, so you already feeling like nobody loves you, and then you got to deal with that. And so when boys started calling me cute and they started noticing me, it was like, okay, you know, somebody loved me, even though it was like a false sense. And one of the things I say in my book is that it created a false sense of intimacy, like sex and marijuana. It created a false sense of intimacy that I knew wasn't real, but at that moment, it was enough. Just in that moment, it was enough. Even though I knew deep down this wasn't it, it was enough right then.
You just mentioned, well, said a lot. You talked about parenthood, but then you also mentioned your daughter. And how does she pronounce her name?
Kylia.
Kylia. Okay, that's what I thought. All right. So, Kylia, you talked about, you know, her being born and you know what you felt in that moment, and this was what got me the most in that whole passage. So you said, caring for my baby came so naturally to me. It was no longer just about me. I now had another life to look after. This tiny person depended on me to keep her fed, clean, and safe. Now, given where you started as a mom, you know what I'm saying, because you know, like you were struggling to spend time because you had jobs, you know, and then you living a life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, but like, how do you believe your spiritual transformation not only epitomized everything that you said in the passage regarding caring for and protecting Kylia, but how it also redeems you for like your previous missteps from being distant from her?
That's good. I think receiving grace. I think if it wasn't for me, you know, because I beat myself up a lot about how, you know, I was emotionally distant from her for a while because I was so afraid to lose her.
Yeah.
And I just had to receive grace because not being able to forgive yourself, that'll keep you in bondage, and that'll keep you from receiving the grace that God has for you, that we don't even have to work for, that he gives to you freely. And I'm sitting in here in bondage. So I think being able to receive the grace that God had for me, and I was able to kind of see, okay, I was hurting myself, and I beat myself up for a long time.
I'm sure.
For a long time. Even sometimes I still, when I hear little things, it kind of, I have to literally pray it away. And, you know, take them thoughts under subjection, because it can still affect you when you feeling like some of the issues that my baby has is because of me. It's because I will be holding her and it will feel so good, and I'll get scared because it feels too good, and I don't want to lose her, and then I got to hurt again. You know what I mean? But that grace, when I'm like, God, thank you, God, for another chance, and why am I beating myself up? You know what I mean? So I think definitely giving my life to Christ and receiving that grace, and then just remembering that, you know, I got a new chance to get things right. My baby, she's still here, I'm still here. It's no use. The past, a few seconds ago, that was the past. There's no point in living in it, right? And so just, that's what it really came down to, is that grace.
Yes.
And just I was determined not to be who my father was, you know, and I was afraid for a long time of leaving her. So I was afraid of loving her too much and losing her. But I think I was more afraid of something happening to me and her going through it. You know what I mean? And just, I had to really give that over to God and like, God, I trust you with this. You got us. You know more than I do. I love my baby to death, but you love her even more. So I got to just trust whatever happens, your will, not mine.
I mean, and that's, I think, us as believers, a lot of times that's the hardest thing to do, is just give it to God, and
we have to,
and not worry so much. Because worry, I mean, it's that whole thing, you know, faith and fear can't coexist.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Because think about how much you love your kids. Like, I know as a father, you know, but just think about how much more your father loves them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Just times, I can't even say times 10, infinity. You know what I mean? We can't even wrap our minds around how much he loves us.
Right.
So we have to trust him with our kids, as hard as it is.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. So in chapter 5, I thought this was a really interesting part. So
I'm going to take this off.
That's all good. You talked about having cold feet. With your ex-fiance.
Yeah, that.
And what I found interesting is that you had like different people in your ear. You had some people like validating the cold feet. Yeah. But then you had other people, you know, giving you the, oh, he's a good man still. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I wanted to ask you, like, based upon your experience and how you ultimately decided not to marry him, and then combined with what you've learned through your spiritual growth. Share your thoughts about the difference between marrying a good person and a good person God has specifically set aside for you.
Right. That's a good question, because one thing we have to remember is that good don't always mean godly. Like, you have people out here, very good people, they giving, they out here, you know, they loving, kind, but that don't necessarily mean they're godly. You know what I mean? So I think that it's very important to be able to know the difference, because while, yes, he was a good man, he wasn't, you know, and just the, you know, like just church, for an example, having to drag him to church. You know what I mean? So I knew that he wasn't, you know, Christian. He hadn't accepted Christ, anything like that. And so even though I had these people in my ear telling me he's a good man, it's still like, deep down, I knew I wanted more than that. You know what I mean? And I knew that it wasn't right. And I knew what I was doing. I was trying to get married to cure my promiscuity, trying to cure what I hadn't even been delivered from. You know what I mean? So I just think that it's so important to really be led by God. You know what I mean? And not just, a lot of times we fall for people that look good. They look good physically. They look good on paper. We go right together. People say we should do this. We look good together. And then we get into relations. Maybe they make a certain amount of money or drive a certain car, and we get into it, and we define that as good when they ain't got no ounce of God in them. You know what I mean? No God, no spiritual life, none of that. So I mean, I thank God that I didn't end up getting married, because I don't believe in divorce. So it would have been, you know, I don't know what would have happened. You know what I mean? But I'm glad that I didn't have to find out. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think just really being led by God and your decision. And you know, me and my friends, we talk about this all the time, being led, because if we led by the flesh, what we want, we always, like, when you really think about all the decisions you made based on what you wanted and looking at what happened from that, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like my way of doing things never worked out, so why not try God's way of doing things? You know what I mean? And we get caught up in seeing other people's relationships and thinking that, you know, because even like when I was single, my best friend, we used to roll together. We did everything together. And she ended up getting married. So, and that was kind of pressure for me too, because I'm kind of like, okay, now I'm going out by myself. She done got married, so I'm with my ex-fiance. So now I'm like, I'm feeling pressured. Okay, I need to calm down too. It's time for me to settle down too. So that can do it too. You know what I mean? True. People around you looking at other people, and whole time I was getting ready, you know, her situation and mine was completely different. Right. So it could be the pressure. Yeah, because I mean, I know you said in the book, like, the signs were there in the very beginning. Yes, in the very beginning. Like, when we went out, I mean, and to be transparent, we went on our first date, like, I knew our conversation just didn't flow. It just wasn't anything. But I was so physically attracted to him, and physical attraction can make you stay in a situation too, because I knew that I wanted to be with him physically. So I knew I didn't see a future with him. But once I got with him physically, then that's when the excuses, okay, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I can be with him. Maybe I can. You know, he was real sweet, real kind. I'm like, okay. He treating my daughter good, and everybody's saying he's a good man. I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's me. I thought it was me. I thought I was tripping, you know. And then my aunt, she kept saying, Trisha kept saying, you don't want to regret it later on in life. And that's what I kept thinking about. I'm going to regret it later, you know. And I was set to marry him. I had my dress and everything. Wow. And making plans. My bridesmaids, they was buying their dresses, like, literally about to get married. Wow. Yeah.
That's serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, thank God that
thank God. Yeah, because even when I look at now, the person that I am today, there's no way, and that's why it's so important to be led by God, because God, He sees your future. He knows who He created you to be, and that ain't it.
Right.
That ain't it.
Yeah, that was a really powerful part of the book, because it's like you could have went in that direction. Your life could have gone totally different. You know what I'm saying? Lord knows you might not have even been led to God as soon as you ended up being, because you would have been further down a rabbit hole that it's harder to get out of.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you led.
Yeah.
So one of the I think one of the most powerful moments in the book was in chapter 6.
Okay.
This was your bow down.
Yeah.
Bow down moment.
Yeah.
So you said, I had been looking for comfort and peace in everything and everyone except God. And He made it so I had no choice but to call on Him and only Him. Excuse me. I had been looking for an escape from my reality, but I was brought face to face with my reality that day, and I had two choices. I could either let my reality take me out, or I could face it and begin my healing process. My healing was in Him and no one else. I believe He made it so I couldn't attribute my being okay to anyone but Him. Nobody else was going to get the glory. So in that part, like, I wanted you to kind of like expand on your feelings, because like you talked about how you were calling a bunch of people, like your go-tos, and like nobody picked up, and then like family members like had turned their back on you and stuff like that. Like, what were your feelings in that moment, and then compare it to like the ultimate feeling of comfort during that bow down moment?
So what was going on during that time? I had just had my ex-fiance and I, we had just found out I had lost another pregnancy, and we broke up. Now, that was another thing. We actually broke up, and I found out I was pregnant the second time, and it was ectopic, so it was in my tube. So I had the second tube removed, and then I was finding out, I was 27 years old, and finding out that I may not be able to have kids again. And so for me, it was like part of my womanhood was gone. And then my father, he had been picking my daughter up from school for me, but he was tired of picking her up because I was back and forth to the hospital. So he was basically like, I'm not picking her up no more. And it was just so many things at one time. We broke up. I lost my pregnancy again, and my dad, he was not answering his phone no more. He didn't want to pick my baby up no more. And every time I was on the phone with somebody, I was okay. Like, as long as I could be on the phone with somebody, every day I'm on the phone, I'm good. But this day, I called my best friend, I called my sister, I called this friend, I called so many people, AJ, nobody answered their phone. And I'm getting closer to my house. As I'm getting closer, I'm like, oh my God, I can't go in here. Because at this point, I hadn't even been in the house really by myself, because I'm always on the phone with somebody over there, or my daughter, I got her. So when I got her, I'm busy. I don't got time to be sad. You know what I mean? So nobody was answering their phone. I get in the house, AJ, when I tell you, like, everything just hit me at one time. Like, that was the first time I ever wanted to die. Okay? And I told you, I was afraid I was afraid of my daughter losing me. But in that moment, I didn't even care. I was like, she'll be okay. The only reason why I didn't contemplate actually killing myself was because I'm afraid of hurting myself. Just to be honest, like, I can't hurt myself. Like, so that was the only reason why I didn't. I was praying to God to just take me. Like, just, Lord, please let me die right now. Khalea be okay. She can go, with my cousin. I'm making all these plans in my mind. And then I was like, oh, my God. I'm like, God, what am I doing? Like, I'm okay with leaving my baby. What am I doing? You know what I mean? And that's when I realized, I'm like, God, like, I literally cried out to Him. I've never cried so much, and I'm like, God, please help me. I don't want to die for real. But I need you. Like, I can't do anything else. I was literally at rock. I never got to that point. And it was like, in that moment, it was like God showed me it was just me and Him. I literally, AJ, I cried, I screamed, I was praying. I had my Bible right there, and I'm like, God, it's just me and you. And it took for nobody to answer. I mean, just imagine if I would have started feeling better because somebody else helped me feel, God wouldn't have got the glory out of it. God is like, no, I'm your comfort. I created you. Ain't nobody about to get the glory from none of this. You're not about to be okay. from this person, you know, your sister, your best friend. No, me, I did this. And that's what God does. He'll bring you to his lowest point. And sometimes it takes that lowest point for you to really surrender. And I call that my bow down moment, because that's when my knees bowed and my tongue confessed. Like the Bible says, every knee shall bow, every tongue shall confess. And that's the day that Christ became my Lord. Because before then I was in church, but he wasn't my Lord. Yeah. I wasn't surrendering to him. When I needed to feel better, I was calling somebody, whether it was a dude or one of my friends. Yeah. But from that day on, I said, God, you my Lord. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it didn't change overnight, but that was the beginning of when I really gave my life to Christ. You know what I mean? When I really surrendered, when he really became my Lord. And that's what he does. Sometimes it takes, and most people tell you their aha moment or their moment, it was always in the pit. It was always in that moment when they at their very lowest. Right. And that God's strength is made perfect in our weakness. Yeah. So, and that's what he uses, our weakness, to show his strength. And that's exactly what he did. And that was my bow down moment. Yeah. That was it. I'm like, you got it. Yeah. You know what I mean? You got it. Because at the end of the day, nobody else was there. And those people didn't do it intentionally. It wasn't that they were intentionally not answering. And I posted about that after, a little while after that. And people were saying, well, you could have called me. You could have called me. But y'all not getting what I'm saying. Right. He didn't allow y'all to be available. Right. This is, you know what I mean? Like, I get that's good intentions. Yeah, he didn't allow this. This is what he needed to do in my life. So it wasn't about, oh, you could have called me, you could have called me. It's not about that. Right. Because you wouldn't have been available. Because this was a God thing that only he could fix. Right, right. It was meant for him to be the person that you called. It was meant for him, yes. Yes, and that was just the life-changing moment for me of making Christ my Lord. Yeah, well, in that moment when it's just y'all, you and God, it's like nobody else can be involved. At the end of the day, that's all it is. Especially if it's that moment where you finally confess, you know what I'm saying, that Christ is Lord and Savior. Yeah. You have to have that moment like that. And everybody has their moment differently when they come to Christ. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But given all of the circumstances that you went through and kind of leaning on people and looking for love and looking for all of this affection, all these answers, and all the wrong places, and a lot of times it had to be just God. And we do that. We'll look for love. A lot of times we look to people what only God can do. You know what I mean? Like, this is a God thing. This not a sister thing. This not a brother thing. The spouse thing. Your spouse can't even do what God can do. Right. And a lot of times I feel like people do that as well. We look for, like, for me as a single person, I remember looking for a mate to make me happy, to make me feel good about myself. But when you do that, you're essentially trying to get something and pull something from somebody that they can't even supply you, and in turn you end up draining them. Right. We drain people and don't even realize, because we looking and pulling and wanting them to do what only God can do. Sure, and God is saying, I supply all your needs, not them. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like me right here. And he would do that. He'll remove people from your life so that way your attention is only on him. He'll hurt you. That very person that you're trying to suck life out of will hurt you. Yeah. So that your mind will be turned back to God. Yeah, that's powerful. That's really powerful. I think throughout a lot of the latter parts of the book, once you had that bow down moment, and you kind of talked about it, how you were saying, whether it was like changing your lifestyle completely, overcoming your sexual addictions, or forgiving your abusers, particularly your father. Like you talked about how a lot of those processes of like praying, being in the Word, like how a lot of the stuff didn't happen overnight. And I think a lot of times what happens with people is they expect, like, we live in an urgency culture or like of instant gratification. People want things right now. And when it comes to God and divine time, it's totally different time. You know what I'm saying? But it's always on time. What words of encouragement would you give someone who is struggling to remain patient, struggling to remain steadfast, and overcoming whatever their obstacle is? I would definitely say it's always a process. For myself, take me for an example. My bow down moment happened in 2012. Okay, it wasn't until 2013, 2014 that I really stopped a lot of the stuff that I was doing. So even in that, it wasn't a big change right away. It was a gradual. It was because if you think about it, it took a long time for you to become the person that you are. So it's going to take a long time to undo that stuff, especially if you're trying to heal from some things. You got to go through a process of forgiving people, forgiving yourself, allowing yourself to heal, giving it over to God. It's not going to happen right away. You got to just allow yourself to hurt. First of all, don't deny it. Allow yourself to hurt. Allow yourself to feel. One of the worst things we do is we try to deny what we feeling. Allow yourself. One of my students told me the other day, I don't cry. No. I told her no. A lot. She had some not daddy issues, mommy issues actually. And I told her, allow yourself to feel that, and she won't. And I'm like, when you allow yourself to feel what you're feeling, then you can give it over to God and let him start to do the healing. And then just, I found encouragement with talking to people who've been where I was. That's what worked for me, because I knew that if you can come through it, because if you never been through what I've been through, I can't really listen to you, because for me, I needed to know that I can change. Yeah. If you never been where I was, of course you good. You know, I mean, and that person may not have had a perfect past, but for me, it was just like I needed to talk to people who've been where I was, so that I knew that they could understand where I was coming from. Because if you didn't deal with daddy issues and, or in any of the other issues I dealt with, losing a parent and all that, or not feeling love, I just needed to know that I could overcome that. Yeah. So talking to people that have been where you are and being able to get encouragement from that, definitely finding a church home, being around people that can pray for you, that was big for me. I was going in the club sometimes, going to church sometimes with what I had on the club. But it was women that would come around me and not judge me. And they would make me feel like, I was okay to be there. Some people turn their nose up, but it was just like, hey, baby, they'd cover me in a nice way, put a little, I forgot what it's called, the little, the cover they put over you, put that on you and stuff. And so I would just encourage people to just stay in the process, just pray your way out, be around people that's going to encourage you, stay away from people that's going to keep pulling you back, because you're going to have those friends. I had friends, Kendra, I miss the old Kendra, when we going out, when we going to do this, dudes that I used to talk to still calling me, and friends, let's go out, I'm with this dude, he got a friend, just stuff like that. Stand away from those people that's constantly pulling you out, and just knowing that God sees all, he knows all, he loves you, he hasn't left you, and just really it's just so much that I want to say, and just knowing that God has not forgotten me. Even reach out to me if somebody is watching this and they going through something, even if it's especially if it's similar to something that you heard today. Like, I'll pray for you, pray with you, because I get being in that space and thinking that you can't get out of it. I mean, that's what the enemy wants, and that's one of the things that I say in my book too. It's like he had my mind so and that's the worst place, your mind. Like when he have your mind, that's it, because everything else follows. Your actions follow, how you think of yourself. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. I can't tell you how many times like I'll listen to pastors or whoever talk about when it comes to when the enemy attacks you. It's always here first.
It's always in your mind.
Because it's where, I mean, it's the whole, as a man thinketh, so is he.
Yeah. If you think you nothing, you ain't gonna be nothing. If you think you can't overcome it, and that's the thing, you gotta know, you gotta speak it. I wanted more for myself. If you want more for yourself, especially if you come from a family of them generational curses, I knew I didn't want to be like the women in my family. You gotta make that choice. It all starts with a choice. Once you make that choice, the only thing standing in your way is you.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly. So just let people know, some of the other things that you're doing in terms of like, blogging, your poetry, and also your speaking, public speaking.
Yeah, so I'm a poet as well. I do spoken word, and it's all about, every time, and anything I do is always a message behind it. It's always encouragement. I do blog at lovemizzk.com. It's love, MIZZK.com. That's love, MIZZK.com. And I pretty much just write about whatever God puts on my heart, whether it's about parenting, sometimes it might be about relationships, or just some type of encouragement for other women and young girls. And actually Sunday I have an event coming up, and I forgot the name of the church. I think it's called Safe Haven, but I'm doing some poetry there. They have like a poetry day, so I'm going and doing a couple of poems there Sunday.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and I can actually be found on Facebook, author Mizz K, M-I-Z-Z-K, author M-I-Z-Z-K.
Okay. And on Instagram and Twitter, where can people find
Twitter is love actually, Twitter I don't really do too much.
Yeah.
Instagram is love _MIZZK. Yeah. That's love _MIZZ. It's always Mizz K, M-I-Z-Z-K, but Instagram is love _MIZZK.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, make sure if you are connected to anything you've heard today, pain, promiscuity, purpose from Mester Ministry is the book.
And it's free today on Amazon. I will mention that. I made it free on Amazon. The ebook version is free. So if you go on Amazon today, if you have a Kindle or a smartphone, if you have the Kindle app, Pain, Promiscuity, Purpose from Mester Ministry is free today. The ebook version is free today only.
All right. See, that's a bonus. That's a bonus, y'all. Come on now. Get on it. Get on it. This book changed your life. Well, I appreciate you coming and sitting down with Bars. And we definitely got to shout out Tone Butter.
Yes, Tone Butter. Tone Butter. Yes, Antonio.
Yes.
He's just such a big support. Like, he put me on to a lot of people, actually. This is probably like the third interview that I've had because of him.
Wow.
Yeah, this is like the third interview. Yeah.
Yeah.
We do ministry together. Actually, we lead the singles ministry at my church together.
Right, because I noticed. I think either you said or he said it was like ministry partner.
Ministry partner. Yeah. And he always putting my stuff out there. Matter of fact, my ebook, Growing in Your Relationship with God, he was sharing it everywhere when it released on my birthday this past August.
Yeah,
I had like #1 in short reads, and I was like, wow, yeah, because he was sharing it, so people was downloading it, and he had shared it like everywhere. So I definitely appreciate his support.
Yeah, he's one of our biggest supporters on this show, and I mean, he's just a good brother. But that's what's good when God places the right people in your life at the right time.
Exactly.
Because it's like they help to expand
like
your reach, you know what I'm saying, and magnify God in the process.
Exactly. And one of my friends mentioned the scripture yesterday, what God puts together, let no man separate. And a lot of times we look at that as just relationships, but it's like ministry partners, friends, you know what I mean, different working relationships. Like, I feel like, and I've told Antonio this, one of the things I love about him is that his genuine relationship with God. And I've in turn grown in my relationship. You know what I mean? Got back into my word because I was slipping for a while. Got back into my word and just growing spiritually. You know what I mean? So I thank God for the connection. I thank God for you having me on here. Anytime somebody lets me on that platform, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful.
I mean, honestly, like I tell anybody, everything about this platform was God's plan. The time of day that it's set, the day that it's set on, the way, the name, everything.
Right.
I give glory to God. You know what I'm saying? That was all Him. Like, a lot of times we'll say, something told me. No, it's God.
It's God. Yeah. I have to catch myself because I do that too. I'm like, no, God. Especially when it aligns with His word.
Right.
And then sometimes it might be stuff you don't necessarily want to do, but you know it's Him. That's why I'm like, I know that's God, because that ain't something that I wanted to do.
Right.
But it aligns with His word, and it's gonna bring Him glory.
There you go.
So. Yeah.
So I really appreciate you coming on the show.
No problem. And, no problem.
Also, make sure to send me that information so I can share it with the listeners.
Okay, I will.
For Sunday.
Okay, I will, and I'll post the link too for the ebook too, the Amazon link.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, be on the lookout. We gonna plug you. We gonna plug.
And I got my few lines too. If you still.
Oh yes,
okay.
Please do. Yes.
Okay,
ready
so
for this.
I'm going to share a few lines from one of the poems that I wrote, and these lines, this is pretty much sums up my entire ministry, and that is basically how God can use anybody. For a long time, the enemy, like I said, had my mind thinking that because of my past that I couldn't be used. When I felt a call on my life to minister, I felt like I wasn't worthy because of the fact of my past. But God said, He brought me to His word, and He showed me people in the Bible that He used that came from terrible past, but He used them for great things for His glory. Okay. So I'm gonna just say these few lines.
Okay.
The devil is a liar and the truth ain't in him. He's damned to hell and trying to take all of us with him. You see, it's a part of his agenda to make us remember who we used to be, causing us to lower our heads in shame, to walk around feeling spiritually defeated, emotionally depleted, mentally weakened like we can never change. Don't let him fool you like he almost did me, had me thinking that the Lord couldn't use someone like me. Our mind and how we think of ourselves is how he attacks us first. But I'm reminded of the 6th chapter of Ephesians at the 11th verse. I'm putting on the arm of God and standing firm against the schemes of the enemy. No matter how hard he tries, he can't touch the calling that's in me. Yes, I can be virtuous, and yes, I can be used. And yes, I can minister to the lost and confused. And if I can, you can too. Because guess what? Even with a past like yours, God can and will use you. Most often, our mess becomes our ministry, and our struggle becomes our story. Our test becomes our testimony, but it's all for God's glory. So let him use you.
Amen, sister. Amen. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for sharing that with me. I mean, that blessed my spirit, you know what I'm saying? Thank you for sharing it with my listeners. And I just appreciate you coming on the show and just being so transparent with your story.
Yeah.
Like, I know that wasn't easy to do.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
And that takes a certain boldness.
Yeah, I had to because God didn't free me for me to be quiet about it. He ain't bring me through what he brought me in. It was a purpose. When I realized why I went through everything I went through, God said, this is why. And when I put my book out, he confirmed it over and over again. So many people were telling me, oh, I struggle with this too. Even older women, older than me, 60, 70 years old, said they were struggling with the same things. And to God be the glory. Yeah. To God be the glory. Yeah. I just thank God for using me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you coming on once again.
Thank you.
And you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
Anytime you want.
Thank you.
So
thank you.
We're going to go ahead and get back into the music for a little bit before we wrap up. This is DC's own Smoke D featuring John A with The Sequel. And you're listening to the official Hump Day Motivation for the DMV and beyond. This is Bars.
Yeah. DC's own Smoke D. You know they say people comes in your life for a reason, right? Or sometimes a season. Or however it go. But anyway. You know? Oh well.
People don't know my pain because I don't express it. Bama's testing my patience, but I ain't gonna stress it. Make some moves, keep these nosy folks about my biz, looking for some gossip to talk about. That's how it is. Loaned a friend of mine some money just the other day. She ignoring my calls cause she ain't trying to pay. Yeah, it's a shame how these crooks will treat you like you're soft. A minor setback, but I'ma take it as a loss. Just because you heard my name doesn't mean you know me. If I don't ask you for nothing, you can't do nothing for me. If I was locked up, I wonder if you'll accept my calls. Or sent the voicemail to write me off to take a fall. Perpetrating the fraud will get you nowhere. At least I'm real with myself, don't even go there. I just roll with the flow when it comes to people. Until you show me different, I'ma treat you all equal. And that's the sequel.
Seasons change, people change. We all have struggles, we go through pain. And when I'm down, you don't know my name, but I don't treat you the same. Seasons change, people change. We all have struggles, we go through pain. And when I'm down, you don't know my name, but I don't do the same.
I have a few good friends that would never slack. If I was short on my rent, I know they got my back. What's up, Jay, and a few others that stand out? Can say your name cause they'll be looking with their hands out. Loyalty is a earning, it's not a given, bro. If I ain't about that life, then I'ma let you know. I'm not the big man on campus, just an average Joe. Go ahead and brag on yourself, and I'ma keep it low. My homie George doing time, I need to send some ends. He may never come home, but yet he got a friend. Money come and they go, it's just the way it is. It ain't like I'm a panic dog, just handle my biz. I don't hang out much, but love to mix and mingle. But since everyone's cheating, I'd rather stay single and just go with the flow. When it comes to people, until you show me different, I'ma treat you all equal, and that's the sequel.
Seasons change, people change. We all have struggles, we go through pain. And when I'm down, you don't know my name, but I don't treat you the same. Seasons change, people change. We all have struggles, we go through pain. And when I'm down, you don't know my name, but I don't do the
the same. No point in getting mad with the things I can't control. And the headaches, they ain't worth it, so I let it go. Learned I can't control what people do or what they lack. The only thing I have power in is on how I act, or more specifically on how I react. Cause it's a fact that what you put out and give, you gonna get it back. We must be ready to elevate our frequencies. Look through the third eye and look beyond our enemies, cause therein lies the remedies to ease all your energies. The peace it brings reminds me of a sweet sounding symphony. Who's in the solitude, you get a chance to soul search. Look how your actions are received by the universe. And what comes first is humility, so now the ego hurts, but do not let it curse your blessings and make it worse. He gives us wisdom, and he treats us all equal, but we must do what we can to be a better people. Now that's the secret.
Seasons change, people change. We all have struggles, we go through pain. And when I'm down, you'll know my name, but I don't treat you the same. Seasons change, people change. We all have struggles, we go through pain. And when I'm down, you'll know my name, but I don't do the same, no.
Giving you the full spectrum with our topics, segments, guests, and of course, the best indie music in the DMV and beyond. This is the Balancing Act Radio Show, only on WinDCRadio.com and the WinDC Radio app, powered by GoWin.media.
Angel is a thought of Allah manifested in the flesh. Do you know who you are? Sweet as sugar cane, certified raw. Born on 2/24, Tuesday, Mardi Gras. Hardcore spit, raised on grits, cornbread and turnip greens. Vivid, full color dreams. I used to sleep walking, talk to imaginary friends. They were real, not pretend. Seeing things before they happen. Deja vu, started noticing a pattern. Anytime I think too hard, my nose start bleeding. I blamed it on God. Cause I didn't believe in the reverend. Forced to go to church every Saturday at 7. For Christ's sake, man, Christ fake. Barely 6 years old, almost got raped. After that, I ain't really have much faith. It took a long time for me to feel safe. Been carrying that burden for years. That's the source of my fears and most of my tears. I'm a fighter though, where my lighter go? Fire starter, call me Charlie, ignite the flow. Cause when I get pissed off, rockets will lift off. Heads could get clipped off, their energy is glyph off. Higher, lower self, gotta balance them. Everything's shifting now, make it more challenging. It's all part of our evolution. Order from the chaos, peaceful solutions.
Organizing any type of event to benefit the people in your neighborhood? Then submit it for the bar's community calendar. Send all important information, including point of contact, to balancingactradioshow@gmail.com. That's balancingactradioshow@gmail.com.
Girl, I love the way you work the middle, work the middle. Girl, I love the way we touch a little, touch a little. I can't lie, you feel like everything to me. Still, I gotta keep it G. You might just keep me out the club, out the club. Oh, girl, you know you got that thing I like. You might just keep me out the club, out the club. Oh, girl, you know you got that thing I like. All night, don't deny the vibes, decide the feel, so real, just vibe, get high.
I can tell just what you feel inside. All those feelings you don't have to hide, yeah. Pretty little savage down the ride. Take your heart, protect it with my life. If you're worth it, don't gotta be perfect. I'll give you anything, baby, if you deserve it. Tell me you want it, tell me you need it. Yeah, if you receive it, don't ever repeat it. Yeah.
Look, she catching them vapors. She told me she crave me. Want half on the baby. Seen this 100 times. You be working to save it. Then they want half on the payments. She looked in my face like, really? Good think I'm after your paper? I replied, think you miss what I'm saying. She said you gon' miss a good thing cause you playing. I had to feel her. She got her own thing and that's appealing. Seen her get it out the mud like a dealer. And I've been fishing for a minute for nothing I consider dinner. Told her I'm sorry, I've been through the ringer. Main reason I've been living single. I love hard, but my circle of trust is so small, hard to fit a needle. But I see the difference in you. Plus the way that she's switching and fixing the boobs. Sundress in the air, though. I be joking tonight, I'ma visit the moon. Got me considering jumping the broom. When we loving, we could fuck up a room. We fuck with no condom. I trust you, let's fuck up some commas. Clutches, she love her designers, fucking. I stopped searching, but I think I done found something solid. And she ain't around for deposits or what she could possibly acquire. I gave her the crown, cause every king need a queen. She gave it back polished. She said it's cool, but I'd rather your heart. Now that alone say enough about her. Flamingo.
All night, don't deny the vibes. Decide the feel so real. Just vibe, get high.
Welcome back to the Balancing Act Radio Show, hosted by AJ Throwback, only on WinDCRadio.com and the WinDC Radio app, powered by GoWin.media.
Yes, that was Devin White and Savannah featuring Don Flamingo with Out the Club. Before that, we had Star with Dwick over, of course, the classic Gangstar, nice and smooth beat. And starting off the set, we had DC's own Smoke D featuring John A with The Sequel. And I gotta definitely send a shout out to DC's own Smoke D and John A. They had, they gave a good performance on Saturday. Saturday we had the second to last in the Iverson Shops at Iverson concert series. Definitely had to show them love because they did their thing at the performance. It was a good time. It was a really good time. Reason Band performed, MTM they performed as well, and yeah, it was just a really good event. So the last event is actually this Saturday, but you know what? Let's go ahead and start off with this, and we can get into it formally.
Organizing any type of event to benefit the people in your neighborhood? Then submit it for the bar's community calendar. Send all important information, including point of contact, to balancingactradioshow@gmail.com. That's balancingactradioshow@gmail.com.
Well, that's, hey, if you need to know what to do next time, if you got to send an event in, boom, there you go. Wrong drop, but, hey, we keep it moving. All right, so, first event we got coming up, Howard University Kathy Hughes School of Communication will be presenting the CERRC Entrepreneurship Bootcamp and Networking Reception this Friday, October 19th, 9 a.m. to noon, at the N3 Inclusive Innovation Incubator, 2301 Georgia Avenue Northwest, which is in the middle of the block, in D.C., of course. You hear the power of entrepreneurship, learn the steps to start your own business, discover your value proposition, meet successful entrepreneurs, and find out where to get startup funding. Includes presenters, panelists, keynote speakers Sheila Eldridge of Miles Ahead Entertainment and the Cafe Mocha Radio Show, and the Sharpen Your Elevator Pitch Workshop facilitated by my business coach, Miss D. Yvonne Rivers of American Dream Business Institute, who we will have on the show November 21st. So definitely make sure y'all tune in for that show. Cost is free, no registration necessary. As mentioned before, right here at the Shops at Iverson, in conjunction with the Go Win Radio Show, which is on every Tuesday, Thursday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. right here on WinDCRadio.com and GoGoRadio.live. The Shops at Iverson concert series continues this Saturday, October 20th. I believe it's from 1 to 3. Right here at the Shops at Iverson, 3737 Branch Avenue, Hillcrest Heights, Maryland. It'll be right next to Burlington. And it will feature a special live performance from Michelle Blackwell. If y'all haven't heard that, I think it's Body of Work album, y'all gotta hear it ASAP. Dope album. So you definitely want to make sure you're here for that. The cost is absolutely free. Bring the family, bring your friends. You know, come out and have a good time. And this is the last one in the series for now. Hopefully they rebooted. It was a good series for the most part. You know what I'm saying? So this is a good way to close it out. And also, the Economic Development Committee of the Fairfax County Branch National Association for the Advancement of Colored People will be holding their first annual Fairfax NAACP Veteran and Minority Business Expo Saturday, December 15th, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. At Thomas Jefferson High School, 6560 Braddock Road, Alexandria, Virginia. Cost is $60 for vendors, $20 for additional tables. Attendees are encouraged to donate $7 for the Fairfax NAACP to continue their advocacy work in Fairfax County. For more info, contact Nikki Zimmerman at 571-309-2621 or email veterans@fairfaxnaacp.org or economicdev@fairfaxnaacp.org. Bars for Life this week comes from moral social philosopher and author of The True Believer, Eric Hoffer. He once wrote, "The search for happiness is one of the chief sources of unhappiness." And I think that's an appropriate quote considering the story that Mizz K had for us today about her trials and her tribulations and finally, having her bow down moment and coming to God, confessing Jesus as her Lord and Savior. And everybody has a different path in life. But at the end of the day, I think one of the things that needs to be driven home is that happiness, a lot of times people get it confused. Happiness a lot of times is driven by what's external. You know what I'm saying? A car is going to make me happy. A good job is going to make me happy. Money is going to make me happy. A good man or a good woman is going to make me happy. All of these outside things. But joy is different. Joy is internal. Joy is something that cannot be taken away once you have it and once you understand that it's something that God gives you. And even if you don't believe in God or you don't believe in God the way, Christians believe in God, whoever you answer to, whoever your higher calling is, puts that joy there. And that's where it comes from. And once that's there, that can't be taken away. And so I think the whole thing about the search for happiness is one of the chief sources of happiness. When we're searching so much to be happy, instead of drawing from within, from that spirit that's within, really the lesson is just draw from within at the end of the day. God put it there. So that's the source. He's the source, So I guess that's my 2 cents for today. I appreciate everybody who tuned in, watching today. A lot of people showed up, to tune in to Mizz K. We definitely appreciate everybody that's new to Bars. Appreciate you tuning in. All of my Team Bars members that are faithful and strong every single week. I love and appreciate every last one of y'all. We will be back next Wednesday. We will have our first return guest, Miss Marcel Folk of Wine Key Experience. She will be back next week to talk about some of her latest endeavors and have a special surprise for you as well. Make sure y'all continue to tune into Win DC Radio today. Different Mind Radio Show was on from 6 to 8 p.m. and Grind Season Radio is on from 8 to 10 p.m. right here on WinDCRadio.com and the Win DC Radio app. I know that Grind Season is definitely live, so you can catch them on Facebook Live on the Win DC Radio pages. Make sure you follow Win DC Radio everywhere, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and make sure you follow Bars everywhere as well, at Bars on Air. That's across the board, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Love each and every last one of y'all. Appreciate y'all tuning in. We will see y'all next week because it's almost time to go. I ain't playing a song to take us out, so y'all know how I do. When I close out the show, I close out with this. Love every one of y'all. Peace.
Bars, 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 bars. And
that's it.
I did it. Mommy did it?
Yes. I do it.
Oh.
You want to say the bars?
You want to do bars?